Hi everyone. It's been a while, but I've been busy. And now I'm back, and today I want to talk about something I have to admit I don't know too deeply about, but still I believe I have the surface level understanding to talk about artificial intelligence and why it will probably never live up to the messianic expectations placed upon it in this day and age. And by the messianic expectation, I mean, these transhumanist tech guys, or like, we're artificial intelligence is we're gonna be immortal, or like it's gonna be a god, we're building god, or the other end of the spectrum, which the kind of people which say, AI is gonna destroy us all, it's gonna be the end of the world, it's gonna kill us all. These are the guys that whenever they see a video of a Boston Dynamics robot, they're gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be chasing us down and killing us in no time, or whatever. So this is the particular approach that I want to address today. I believe that AI is probably never gonna be as big a deal as we make it out today. And that's because ultimately I have yet to see evidence indicating that this technology can actually make decisions, formulate ideas on its own. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a great technology and it's great and superior to people in all ways when it comes to doing tasks that involve repeating a certain thing over and over, and also in terms of pattern recognition. AI has got a considerable advance on what people can do, especially when it comes to things like, recognizing wakes of boats on a map, or recognizing the shapes of tumors. AI is going to do a great job there, but it's never, as far as I know, and I may be forced to eat my words in the future, but as far as I understand, this technology is not yet at a level where it can make creative decisions, a proper analysis, and it's not at a level where it can actually, take impetus, take charge of things, take initiative. When you're thinking about, you wake up, what do you want to do? Most of us can't answer this question either, but, on a deep down level, we can give answers that AI may never be able to match. Now, some people, throw out this semantic caveats. They say, especially, I watched this big Elon Musk talk where he's smoking weed with this radio presenter, and he's saying companies are like an amalgam of machines and people. They are like, he says a company is an entity that takes people, machines, and AI, and then it can make its own decisions. Well, I find that to be a big case of semantic gymnastics. Ultimately, companies serve one thing. They're entities that can keep on making, saving, and accumulating money longer than single individual people. And in a free market system, of course, that's giving rise to immense cases of injustice, but also immense wealth accumulation begets immense technical progress and other things. But that's a sideline. Ultimately, companies are just a role-playing game for the age-old tribal institution of people. It's an extended version of tribal institutions that people have been forming and living under since the ages of, I think since even before people were people. So I don't think that counts as AI. When a company develops AI and there's like this awkwardly talking robot voice, and if a human technician helps it out, then it's not a pure AI, as far as I can see it. But also, that's not to say that AI is without its risks. I mean, it's not gonna form Skynet and kill us all anytime soon. But on the other hand, it's really good at pattern recognition. So I can really visualize an army or an air force making this really cheap pattern recognizing drones that can just recognize the shape of people on the road and shoot at them without discrimination. And if the worst comes to pass, someone could engineer an aerial artificial intelligence genocide system that way. Now that's really scary. But still, even in like worst case hypothetical scenarios like that, the agency is not with the AI itself. It's being put to work by the army or the government or whichever maniac that's in charge, and that's always a human agency. And that's also another interesting thing about human agencies, that like this whole debate with AI makes us realize that human agency is almost never derived from a single individual. It's always a group of people working as a tribe, or a glorified tribe, as a company or a government or an electorate body or whatever. Now they are using all these technical prosthetics, the internet, media, certain social media platforms, and yes, things that which we today like to call artificial intelligence. They're all prosthetics for the tribal human organism that has the impetus, that has the initiative. And in the long run, I don't see that being replaced by machines at all, because ultimately it all comes down to this fact that we still don't understand how human brains work. We still don't understand how we make decisions. We still don't understand the intimate workings of the brain. There are theories, there are models, and some of them are really sophisticated models, yes, but ultimately every one of us is carrying within our skulls the most complicated structure, possibly the most complicated structure known on Earth. And I believe that it's gonna take centuries before we even begin to suspect the mechanisms at work there. Now, I don't want to get any mystical about this, but I believe it's going to take several paradigm shifts at how we look at time, how we look at consciousness, and the ultimate microscopic resolution at which we are able to perceive the world before we understand how human brains work. I believe, to put it very crudely, and don't forget, by the way, I'm an armchair guy. I'm just saying this from basically some research and a lot of popular science reading. But I believe the human brain amounts to something like a biological quantum computer. And I believe what happens in nerve cells, the brain, it may not even be related to the minimum surface level things down there. I mean, it could be a holistic thing. Maybe the whole brain or the entire organism somehow works to bring about consciousness. Another armchair, I'm not even going to call a hypothesis, is that it's a proto hypothesis that maybe whatever gives us consciousness allows us to look into parallel universes. These may be very little parallel universes, like what happens if I throw this rock. But it allows us this foresight, and that's why I said, it's going to take us some paradigm shifts before we start to understand how human brains work. Now, I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into this brain consciousness parallel universe stuff, because I know how quickly it can get very kooky and very stupid. So let's go back to artificial intelligence. these are the reasons why I believe that AI is a kind of an overrated development. To begin with, yes, it's great at pattern recognition, and it's great at doing certain tasks repetitively over and over again. It has risks if it's used as a weapon. If it's used as a weapon, it can cause genocide at a scale that no one has ever seen before, especially if it's combined with drone technology. But at the end of the day, it still cannot and probably will never be able to take initiative. Because of two reasons. One, people at a, let's say, glorified tribal level have this way of making societal decisions that machines can never match. And two, as I just mentioned, we still don't know how consciousness works. And we have to figure that out before we make machines. Now, AI technologies may get really sophisticated, but at the end of the day, they'll all be mechanical Turks. They will need to have the data fed into them somehow. I mean, Google and Facebook, their algorithms. Heck, when everyone's talking about the hate speech on Facebook, and a couple of years back, they said, we're going to roll out this AI algorithm that's going to be able to recognize hate speech and, bring it down. Then they did all these kind of like algorithms that can see if you post a picture of a swastika and remove it. But what happens is, for example, on Facebook there was this World War II aviation group, and they had their images taken down all of a sudden. Why? Because the German airplanes had the swastika on their tails. Now, forget the political implications, whatever. It's really funny how this AI monitoring of a social network in between humans had these, ridiculous consequences. So Facebook had to up and actually hire people. Like, there are like tens of thousands of dudes sitting in an office somewhere just checking complaints and taking down posts, and it's a kind of a depressing job, really. But it goes to show that AI still doesn't live up to its premise, even when it has social networks, 1 billion people strong, feeding data into it. Never gonna happen in my time, I guess. Now, they also say, AI is gonna destroy everybody's jobs. And with this, I agree. It really is gonna remove a lot of jobs in the future. Like, I don't know, if you're making spreadsheets for accounting or in a customer service job somewhere, banking, number crunching. Heck, I think the practice of law is actually one of the most threatened sectors when it comes to AI encroachment, because especially in things like trade law, trade disputes and something, with criminal justice it's harder, but in terms of like copyright infringement cases, trade law, embezzlement, stuff like this, machines are like spot on at identifying and marking out these human errors or transgressions. And I think it's going to be a happier future when, let's say, at least all the non-criminal courts are decided by artificial intelligence algorithms. And when it comes to people's jobs, though, it's a whole other business. And I don't know if I'm qualified enough to comment about it, but what does this show us? Does it show us that machines are going to take people over? Or does it show us that in the last century or so, what a messed up job we've been doing, cutting down jobs into salami sliced, easily reproducible tasks? Maybe that was the inhuman thing to do to begin with, before machines or anything. Why did we have jobs in which everything is like broken down to its basic constituents, and if it's an office job, there's one person who does this and another person who does that? I mean, we kind of obviously, I mean, with these kind of implementations, there were massive efficiency benefits to be gained. So I'm not really blaming anyone. But when machines start taking office jobs away in this day and age, maybe it's not the machines that are really advanced, but it's our concept of jobs that are so inhuman. Like, why do you need to sit one person at his or her desks all day long, just doing one type of executive decision making or what? Maybe we need to think what it means to employ a person, or even something more basic, like what it means to value a person. You need to keep these people around, not because they do these jobs well, but because they have something else to contribute to society. And then we go off to whole other spectrums of debate. So yeah, AI is threatening a lot of jobs, but it's because all the jobs are shit and they were insults to intelligence to begin with. I mean, maybe they do need to take these jobs over so people can, I don't know, find better things with their time. But of course that's easier said than done, because millions on millions of people are depending on jobs like this. Maybe we're going to have to come to a compromise where we will limit technology. And I'm actually a strong believer in this, that why do we need to have all the efficiency? I mean, after a point it becomes about valuing people, making them feel valued. I mean, maybe you need to come at a hybrid solution where people are paid for basically turning up at work for half of the day, either overseeing AIs or just working, maybe working less efficiently, but making a living for their families, for their children, being fulfilled, having hope for the future. When people are thinking about technology, society, business, and stuff like this part of the equation is almost never considered. And it, I think, shows the perverse way we have started at looking at what efficiency means. Does efficiency really mean being able to churn out more applications, more paperwork, Excel files, whatever? Or does efficiency mean a society in which people maybe work a little less, faster, but go home happier, rest easier in their beds? Because don't forget it, everyone, guys and girls, the last time I checked, the basis of this planet, this civilization, any civilization we build, still comes down to tribes of people. The companies, the artificial intelligence, the technology, they're all prosthetics. They help us work faster, but maybe we gotta start asking ourselves, do we need to go faster? So anyways, these are my 5 cents. I started talking about AI, and I believe it's never gonna live up to its promises. And I ended up at a kind of weird quasi socialist outcome with machines and stuff. But I'm not a socialist when it comes to that whole communism and socialism bit. I don't even want to go there. But what do you think about all this debate? Do you think I'm wrong? I may be wrong. Maybe I'll eat my words, and in 10 years we'll all be working as servants under machine gods. Who knows? Or do you think I'm right? What do you think about business? Do you think there are other implications that I haven't considered? Please comment below, guys. And it's good to be back on YouTube. Have a good day, everyone. And don't forget, once again, that when you look out on the street, even when things feel really crappy, hey, the last time I checked, this world was still being run by, and even when it's difficult to believe, for people. Have a nice day. Goodbye.